Good morning and welcome to the webinar from Industrial IoT to Augmented Reality. I'm happy to present 4 people here that are going to lead us through the webinar. My name is Hermann Berg. I will do the brief introduction of Moxa at the very beginning, followed by Adi, the Director of Product Management IoT at TeamViewer. He will give us an intro to TeamViewer and then the use cases that TeamViewer covers in that area. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm really impressed about the investment that TeamViewer has made in the last few years in those 2 areas, IoT and augmented reality. Amjad, my colleague over here in Munich, will do a demo that's focused on the TeamViewer IoT platform. And then Anna Maria, Channel Account Manager, IoT and augmented reality, will do a more sophisticated demo that makes the steps from the IoT platform to the augmented reality platform, and I'm really looking forward to that as well. So let's have a quick look at the agenda. Moxa and IoT, that's me, and TeamViewer, Adi, together that will be roughly 15 minutes and then roughly 20 minutes of demos. And at the end, we're missing the Q&A session that is at the end. And please use the chat function, or rather the question functions in your tool. We will pick up the questions. You can ask them throughout the webinar, and we'll pick them up at the end and answer them one by one. So let's get started with the first topic, Moxa and IoT. Very briefly, for those of you who are not so familiar with the Moxa portfolio, we make products between the sensor and the cloud. If we're talking about IoT applications, more specifically, it's industrial assets, because it's also PLCs, for instance. And on the other end, we have not just the cloud, but other IT systems on-premise and in the cloud. So our history is more from connecting PLCs to SCADA systems and connecting industrial assets between each other. And we've done that for over 30 years. And the products that we can offer in that area, we started with industrial connectivity, soon followed with networking and industrial computing. The areas that we are playing in, the vertical markets, you see the symbols at the top there for the vertical markets: rail, power, oil and gas, traffic systems, factory automation, marine. Those are the areas wherever there's a harsh environment, meaning wide temperature range, shock and vibration, in some cases explosion-proof environments, so you need ATEX certificates or other certificates. That's the kinds of products that we make. And as we've been in this space for a while, we feel we've made relevant experience to share. And here's the 5 critical success factors that we came up with for IIoT projects, industrial IoT projects specifically. The first one is really a Scalable IoT Toolkit, because as you can see here on the slide, 80% of IoT locations, industrial IoT locations, are brownfield and therefore quite heterogeneous, quite different requirements. So you need different kinds of kit to connect different kind of equipment. OT and IT merging, obviously different players and different systems have to be connected. So the ability to work with partners is key more than ever. And actually, today's webinar is a good proof point in what value we can bring if we work together with partners and not try to do everything ourselves, whoever we are. The other 3 are vertical market expertise, global coverage, and cybersecurity. We're not going to talk about them today, but they're also required for successful large-scale international projects to be successful, obviously. So speaking about the ability to work with partners, we try to we have launched actually what we call the IIoT partner pages or partner profiles, where we try to cover the use cases that we feel are relevant, in some cases also success stories, and a lot more resources, more material to show everyone what the combined solutions can really look like. So TeamViewer, we're really happy to be on there first, and our promise is to make IoT projects easy, fast, and scalable together with partners. And with that, let's have a look at our partner TeamViewer. Adi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Herman. And thank you, everybody, for joining in and taking time out to speak with us. I think it's a great story. Marrying reliability, the legendary Moxa reliability with all the amazing hardware and the connectivity options that they provide, to I'd say also legendary TeamViewer security story. I think these are two foundational aspects in terms of really building out industrial grade solutions. So, I mean, thanks, Herman, for also letting us know about the Moxa portfolio and how you see it. And I just wanted to complement that with how TeamViewer has been approaching this industrial area. I mean, how have we been trying to make a mark with the core use cases that we have for our customers around these industrial solutions? And to do that, maybe to give a little bit of an overview to the participants of our history. We're a 15-year-old company. We were founded here in Göppingen in Germany. We have been, as you can see, exponentially growing, essentially with our core, let's say, support, remote control, remote access use cases. I mean, exponentially growing over the years to today, where as a software, we're installed on more than 2.5 billion devices globally. As part of that growth story, we also quickly realized there is a gap when customers and partners want to provide secure connectivity solutions and secure data-driven solutions, especially pushed out with digital transformation. We realized that gap and started investing into areas, as you've been noticing, for the last couple of years around IoT, augmented reality, helping people help each other, helping people connect to their assets and do more and do things more productively. So as you can see, we've started expanding our portfolio, all about growth, expanding our portfolio, investing in the latest and the greatest technologies. And that's been our story. So very successful company that has transformed from a perpetual license to a subscriber-based company, a subscription company, and a very, very strong growing set of use cases powered by best-in-class acquisitions as we go forward. Right? But at the core of it, we have three key pillars, right? And all these three pillars, we want to do a few things the best for our customers, right? They are essentially to connect, to help them engage, to help them support each other and their customers, and to help them manage these kind of solutions scalably. And that's been sort of a common driver, whether it's been for our blue world, that's the instant IT solutions, the world that we've been very well known for, the personal consumer based world, the small office, home office, small organizations trying to support their customers and so on, to our really, really, let's say, strong transition and a footprint into more enterprise and industrial setup. So not only are we looking at the consumer and the large scale blue world, but we are also very, very well entrenched into the enterprise worlds, supporting some of the largest, let's say, Fortune 500 companies, helping them roll out IT and support across their global organizations and distributed assets. And the same sort of promise and the same sort of value we want to push to the industrial solutions. And that's where we are here today. And that's where we are looking at explaining and maybe communicating a little bit more of our value in the industrial world. What do we do with IoT? What do we do with AR? That's setting us apart, right? And to do that, I just wanted to show you how we're positioned. So TeamViewer today has moved from just being a support application to actually a large, let's say, platform that cuts across valuable use cases along the entire organization's value chain, right? It goes from being a collaborative tool to helping organizations improve processes, to helping organizations uh, create more smooth supply chains, less disrupted and more reliable supply chains, to especially during the last COVID times, helping organizations deal with with what we call the people intensive processes, helping organization deal with these people intensive processes where they needed to be close to each other and provide that seamlessness in a remote and digital environment. And these are some of the examples that we're looking at. But for today's webinar, our focus is essentially on the red parts that you see, essentially on the Internet of Things, on logistics supply chain topics, on industrial use cases, around support and maintenance, right? How do we do this? We, of course, have our own, let's say, platform and infrastructure. This is one of our most unique and also most loved and maybe trusted aspect by our customers. We have our own unique infrastructure, which is the bedrock for our security promise. Our global access network that allows these connectivity globally, creating a very, very high performance connectivity option that is safe and secure, which is also trusted by the world, I mean, organizations the world over, right? We've further overlaid that with some of these, let's say, foundational platform features, especially more around access, more around security, more around management. And then we've been building over these all the different use cases as one platform, right? Because we've also started realizing as worlds start converging in the digital space, where the IT comes to OT, where the OT needs IT, it all needs to look seamlessly. It all needs to work seamlessly because the users are changing, the behavior, the skills of customers are all kind of blending, which is why we are very well positioned to help organizations in this transformation, right? And using these solutions, we start delivering the use cases. And there are some use cases that I would like to also show you today, right? Um, so now one of the areas that I was mentioning in terms of the red world and the way we see it is there are two, let's say, uh, two perspectives that are joining together. The Internet of Things, all that we're looking at in terms of connected assets. Herman mentioned this in the context setter. He mentioned about the brownfield scenarios. And when we talk about brownfield, there is always um, a learning curve when we adopt the new technologies, and that learning curve comes with connected products but also with connected people. You can't let the people out of the game. The information, the control, all these aspects have to be kind of co-working together between the people and the humans, people and the things. So that's where we as TeamViewer have our unique positioning between the Internet of Things and the Internet of Humans. We all are about collecting and acquiring data securely, thanks to our reliable infrastructure that I was explaining earlier, but also that we are one of the most trusted partners to remotely operate, which is go back into the devices, to control those devices, to help customers support their end customers and so on. So that trust has been, let's say, amplified with our remote operations, especially when it comes to assets that are distributed, that are far away from each other, and with customers wanting to save costs with a small team but manage a large fleet of devices. That's the area where our Internet of Things is essentially positioned. And we, of course, enable that with higher value with topics such as data analytics, with visualization. How do we understand the state and conditions of the machine? How can we better enable support understanding this state? And then bring in the human, because after all, the human, the frontline worker, is in control. And being a large brownfield project, it is not possible to take the human out of the equation. So what can the frontline worker do? What can they do more? How can they understand the problem better to fix the problem? Can we help them? Can we assist them to reduce errors on the shop floor? Can we help them and assist them to make operations much smoother? And that's overall the way we see digitalization at the front line, the digitalization on the shop floor with the machine and the man together, right? One of the and again, this is a little bit of how we do it. Like I said, we have our platform. there are certain unique industrial IoT or IoT platform features, especially all about secure data transmission, secure access, getting information that matters, using that information to create better support and service scenarios, and the human aspects. How do you transmit this information to people? How can you augment it or overlay their functions with better informed, let's say, decisions? And that's what the augmented reality workflow also looks at, right? Maybe I could already start giving you a few examples. This is one very famous example. In fact, it's one of the sweet spots that we've been helping our customers, especially our machine builder customers who are, let's say, encountering the first hurdle, their first challenge to digitize, right? Can I offer digital services to my end customers, right? And a lot of times there is in the industrial scenario, there is a trust deficit where the end customers and the machine builders are reluctant in sharing data, but at the same time have very high expectations in service level agreements. So attended access is a classic, let's say, solution, a painkiller for that problem, right? Wherever there are operator-led activities in any process, the operator is in control of the machine, and he or she can decide when is the best time that he would like support. And once that support is needed, there should be no time wasted. There should be no gap in providing that support. And that's essentially what attended access does, right? So here's the flow. So an end user has a problem. He calls on the assistance. The assistance is a technician or an expert or a consultant sitting anywhere in the world, and he picks that service case up. Sets up a channel, a dialogue with the end operator. The operator says, okay, you're the right guy, let me allow you access. A very, very critical part in that, in bridging the trust. I allow you access, which is why you're getting to work on my machine. And then the supporter, the agent, the consultant has this access, can walk through the let's say the troubleshooting workflows, the diagnostics, and so on, and all in consent, all in, let's say, the visibility of the end user, all in a safe and controlled environment, fix the problem, keep customers happy, and at the same time save costs in terms of field service deployments and service turnaround times, right? That's kind of the whole idea. That's the kind of use cases that we want to go after. The second use case is more to do with the data, right? When we are, let's say, securely transmitting information into the cloud and so on, while we're ingesting that data, we can also operate on that data and help provide better service and support. All with the key benefits that have been highlighted, all with having better service efficiencies, all with ensuring the customers are happier, right? And that your systems are scalable, and you don't have to keep worrying about deploying these again and over again, right? So that's what we do when it comes to service automations. We capture the information, we build some conditional models. Based on the conditional models, uh, there are different, let's say, service scenarios, and those service scenarios get tagged to the right people, right? And not only that, not the automation only doesn't end there. The people who are equipped with, let's say, the TeamViewer technology, IoT or Frontline, are actually able to reach out, like I showed you in the attended access, are able to reach out to the problem asset and remotely operate it to fix it, to help their end customers do better, and to advise them on certain changes that may need to be done. And we've got a few examples of this as well, right? So one such example that we've been looking at deploying, and I think this is also an example that we will see as part of our demo, is all the different industrial assets that are located are connected to that aggregator, the gateway. That's the Moxa gateway, right? So first of all, we're getting the reliable, let's say, cyber physical information in, right? Post that, we now start looking at the secure virtual information handover. That's again done via the TeamViewer IoT ingestion platform. Once that's in, we put it into the frontline, let's say, workflow engine, and the workflow decides, okay, this is the kind of data I'm getting. I need to do this. Send an alert over smart glasses to our technician who's standing, let's say, 10 feet away from the machine, get him into this problem, ask him what he can do, maybe even contact a third-party expert consultant sitting far away who's the machine expert to help each other. So what you see is what I see, and hence we can fix the problem together. And that's overall of how especially this service automation story works. This is in a nutshell. So as you can see, we're all about helping our customers provide better digital and more value-added services digitally, to help improve some business outcomes for them. And that's what I had as well, just as a quick overview. Over to you, Herman.
Great, thank you, Adi. I think that combination of IoT and augmented reality is one of the big growth areas for the future, on top of the growth areas of IoT and augmented reality standalone. And therefore, seeing is believing. Demo 1 is focusing on IoT, and then demo 2. If someone can click, I'm not sure if I can, the second demo that Anna Maria will lead us through after, thank you, will touch on how to get data from IoT to augmented reality and what that looks like. So with that, over to Amjad over there, and let's have a look at the first demo.
Hello everyone, today I'm here to show you our solar panel demo. So we have a solar panel which is located outside the window, and here we have a regulator which is connected to a solar panel, and here we have a battery which actually stores the energy. Okay, so we have also connected load to this regulator which actually consumes the energy, and here we have IoT gateway that actually collects the data from the regulator and send it to the TeamViewer cloud. Now let's look how we can access the gateway from TeamViewer client. Okay, so now let's have a look how we can access Moxa IoT gateway remotely using TeamViewer. So let's see here. I have a TeamViewer client software installed on my laptop, and we have already TeamViewer IoT agent running on our Moxa IoT gateway. So you can see we have several devices connected in our virtual lab, but this is the device that we are actually using for this demo. So let's access to this device. So you have this option here, remote control, and now to start authenticating to the device. Perfect. Okay, so now you can see here it has 3 options: file transfer, remote app control, and the remote terminal. So file transfer is the option like when you wanted to, let's say, upload the logs from your computer, from your Moxa gateway to your computer, or for diagnostics purpose. And you can also actually drag and drop files back and forth from your computer and the gateway. Okay, and the second option is like if you wanted to access the gateway terminal like SSH. So this remote terminal options give you the options that you can access the gateway via remote terminal, and then you can able to execute Linux command, or you wanted to upgrade some software packages and so on. So let's log into the gateway via this remote terminal. Perfect. So now you see I'm already logging into the gateway here, and then you can execute your Linux command here, and you can do whatever like you do normally with SSH. Okay, but we are not stopping here. The best feature here is the remote app control. Okay, so like you normally have a web servers installed on your gateways, and these web servers like it's very intuitive. Like you can easily access those web servers remotely from your laptop or from your TeamViewer solutions. Okay, so this Things Pro web server is running on our gateway, and this is what we are using for data acquisition to collect data from the regulator, and then we publish it to TeamViewer IoT cloud via MQTT. Okay, so when you install TeamViewer IoT agent on Moxa gateway, it's by default install the MQTT broker, which actually publish data to the cloud. Okay, so let's log into this web server here, and I will show you the data acquisition part. Okay, so now we are already logged in into the web server here, and I will take you to the Modbus data acquisition part. So if you remember, I mentioned that from the regulator, we are collecting data from our Modbus TCP interface. For Modbus, if you know that you have to actually define some template that what information you wanted to collect. So you have registers and corresponding addresses for it. So for easiness, we define the template here in our software. So we are actually reading 13 tag counts from the regulator. So you can also see the variable names here, and for example battery voltage, and so this is a function called read input register. You can define addresses and data types and units for your regulator, or what information you wanted to collect. Okay, so let me show you the connectivity part. Okay, so in the Modbus management here, I will go to Modbus TCP part here. So this is a device we are actually connected to the regulator, our Modbus TCP interface. And you can see, you can also check the connectivity at one time, whether your software or the gateway is connected to your Modbus slave or not. So the green here, you can see we are already connected to it. And if you wanted to verify the registers, so you can also use this test option, and then you can see list of those variables that you have defined that is coming from the regulator or Modbus interface. Okay, now let's have a look how we can visualize this information on TeamViewer IoT dashboard. Okay, so let's go to TeamViewer IoT management console. So right now here I'm already logged in into my TeamViewer web-based management console, and this is the home page. So you can see the how many devices are online and how many devices are offline, so you can take actions and so on. You can also see alarms if you have set some alarms, so you can also monitor them. Okay, under the inventory, you can filter out devices, sensors, and metrics, but right now you can see we have several devices here, but this is the one UC8220 this is what we are using for this demo. Okay, so these two sensors are actually MQTT topic. First one is GPS, this providing information, location information from the gateway to the cloud, and the second one is actually we defined on our software to collect the data from the Modbus slave devices. Okay, so you can see those variables here, and these sensors will be automatically published to the cloud. You don't have to define these variables here, so you have to just define on the device side. All right, so now let's look how this data looks like in the dashboard. Okay, so you see here you can add widget option here, so you can add new widgets, and you can see right now we have a battery capacity for our solar panel, so you can see amount of energy, percentage of energy stored in the battery. So right now it's 32%. You can measure the input current that is generated by a solar panel, and right now you see it's 0.09, but we do not have sunlight. When you have a more sunlight, it can goes up to the rated current. And you can also see the load current. We connected load to the regulator to consumed energy from the battery. You can also see battery temperature here, and here in this graph you can also see, let's say, performance counters. For example, you wanted to measure CPU load, memory, and disk usage, and you can also do like you see here, this is a live information coming in, but you can also like see the information over 1 week. So let's see how much input current is generated. So you can also see peaks over the different dates here. And if you wanted to monitor the battery capacity our last day, so you can also see here it was 100% between 12 and 6 p.m., but it's starting decreasing again because we do not have a sunlight, okay, but still we are consuming energy. So this is really nice that you can monitor your energy easily with this dashboard. Okay, now consider if you wanted to onboard your Moxa gateway to TeamViewer Cloud. This is very simple and easy. So you just go to your Add Device option here, and then you have to select the operating system. And one time we use Debian, Moxa Industrial Linux here. And the good point is here you see we have already integrated Moxa product line UC series, and this is ARM-based architecture. The one we are using for this demo already, and the other one we have a Moxa MC series. This is x86 based architecture. Okay, so you can select the group in which group you want to assign the device, and because this is really nice if you wanted to share this group to your other team members, and they can easily access the device remotely from their computer as well. Okay, so you just need to copy these 3 commands and then execute this on your gateway, and then your gateway will automatically assigned to your account, and then you are able to access the gateway, like as I said before, the file transfer, or you want to access the web server, or you want to access the devices behind the gateway, and so on. So this is really nice, but if you don't want to do this, you can also go to one of our IoT service partner, and they can help you with this installation. Okay, all right, so now let's have a look more sophisticated installation in Italy.
Good morning and welcome to this demonstration produced by 4 different companies, Alleanzia, together with TeamViewer, together with Moxa, together with our partner and system integrator, BARS. This demo will show you a simple concept that is from sensor to glasses or smartphone. Let's start looking into the main interface. The main interface is an Alleanzia suite, which allows you to interconnect a number of brokers. The broker would be a cloud protocol that allows you to read sensor. With the sensor, we can choose, for example, this simulated sensor, Electras Femto, that have a number of parameters, and Electras ESA that have a number of parameters that you see here showed. Then we are going to the broker 2, and the broker 2 would have a number of parameter setting, and then I can, of course, have this communication set on my main interface, that is the Alleanzia Suite and Alleanzia IoT Gateway. After, this is what I'm going to do with this sensor. I'm going to launch a main TeamViewer IoT solution with perfect correspondence of the inventory of the asset that I have set. So all my sensors will be here, as you see, Electras Femto that we saw before, and Electrex ESA that we have here with all the parameters. So this communication is made through Alleanzia and TeamViewer powerful solution. After this, we have a sensor that intercommunicated to our web application. Then we can, of course, see the value of this sensor, and we could also sometimes underline values that are out of specification or can generate an alarm. If I go to the TeamViewer solution, I see my configuration and all the variables of telemetry. And then I can, for example, open again my sensor interface and match the corresponding sensor to the interface of TeamViewer IoT. You see, for example, we have inductive energy, and inductive energy is replicated for 2 times. And apparent power is available also on TeamViewer IoT. Then I will go on the sensor, and I can also have a lifetime counter, that is another important parameter, and I can set the number of parameters on my sensor. Then I can create a rule. Rules are an important feature and component of the TeamViewer IoT solution. For example, I can create a threshold rule You can see here the rule is about the total reactive power, which I want to stand in a range and generate some threshold. And in fact, with this sensor, I could, for example, view and edit the rule and put some threshold on top of it. And then with that, we can, for example, set the total apparent power in a threshold. And then I can also check for one consecutive check in this case. In my main dashboard, I would have these settings and I can read my value of the sensor that I have selected. So the total counter and then also the reactive power. So I have created a simple way of visualization of the parameters that are interesting for me in a sensor base. And the power current and everything that is related to the amplitude and so on. And here the total reactive power. All these variables are created by the rule that I have set. Finally, I connected to the TeamViewer Frontline capabilities. And this system allows you, first of all, to start your work logging in with a QR code. This is your login. And when you will be logged, you will access to a number of resources. So you will, for example, have access to this menu, and as administrator, you can, of course, open again the user that is identified by QR code, and I can start my work on the TeamViewer Frontline system. I connect to the server and then I have my task. My task was this set of value parameter that I have set in the IoT, and I can, from the frontline, open the IoT interface, see all the capability of documentation, call, task, and I can also see the sensor list. So again, this is a Huawei smart interface from the smartphone. I can see my parameter that I have set on my smartphone. So all the metric that I want to control and remotely visualize are available thanks also to the capability of the frontline in my smartphone. And as you see, there is possibility also for each parameter to do a kind of visualization and also over time. Then, for example, total power factor, I can have this parameter shown on my dashboard. If I take the other sensor, I can, for example, go and see all the exported energy, inductive energy, a lot of number of parameters related to that sensor. Finally, FANUC does another type, so in number of pieces elaborated. And so I can also, for example, for Electra's Femto, come back again and see the lifetime counter. Another thing which I can do is to read the value of the lifetime counter remotely with my smartphone. I can also see if there are alarms related to this, and there are not. I can send the data because the interface is bidirectional, so I would write on the sensor and then I can set the data remotely from my smartphone into the sensor. I can read the total reactive power from the sensor. Again, no alarm because it stands in the rules and threshold that we have set before. And then I can put another parameter and write on it. As you see, we have written on the parameter that is of our interest. And now I will write again this total reactive power. Finally, I can check other parameter, for example, active power. I check that parameter specifically. I can read the data 0.024, and then I can also see if there are alarms. In this case, there is an alarm because we have generated the rules and this value stands outside of the range. So we will generate an alarm for the total active power. For the total active power, we are writing the values. And again, this will set my values on the sensor again. Finally, the last parameter is the total power factor that I can read from this interface. And then that's what we can see, basically. And again, a critical alarm because for 29 seconds we were out of the threshold. I can write on this interface, and this give me availability of bidirectional data. So I'm reading and writing on that specific parameter.
Right. Thank you very much, Anna Maria. Thank you very much, Amjad, for the demos. So now we have the Q&A session, and we did actually get a few questions. First of all, the recordings of the session will be shared. If you like the presentation slides, I suppose we can share them too, but then maybe you can get in touch with us directly. The first question we got was, and I'm not sure if it's TeamViewer or Moxa, is about Azure Sphere. So there was a question, do we have integration with Azure Sphere? So for Moxa, I can say Azure Sphere is a chip, or for everybody's benefit, maybe Azure Sphere is a chip that allows, that's made by Microsoft, that allows people to connect things like coffee machines and other non-smart devices to become smart and connected to the IoT world, let's say. That chip is fairly special for these types of devices. Moxa makes smart devices from the beginning. So we use a different technology called TPM, Trusted Platform Module. It's one type of security modules, HSMs, that allow secure access. So in that sense, we provide, as Moxa, on our gateways, the same, and products overall, the same kind of security and connection. However, I'm not entirely sure about the other devices. Does TeamViewer connect with any other mice devices than Moxa? If yes, then maybe over to Adi and Anna Maria.
That's a good question, and thank you for that. So currently, the kind of device classes that TeamViewer connects to are, because of the footprint and the kind of functionality that we need in essence a processor-based system with a microcontroller system, which probably Azure Sphere is run on with their own OS systems. It is not possible to allow us to operate and access these functions remotely. So currently, we're limited to gateways around, exactly like Amjad mentioned, gateways that are Moxa, for example, ARM driven or x86 driven. Those are kind of the platforms that we support at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. Then there was a question about analytics. Where can analytics be done? I would say would be the short version of the question, and specifically looking at the dashboard that Anna Maria showed. The question was, is there simple? There seems to be only simple analytics, and I think possibly that's referring to the Allianzia solution, in fact, and not the TeamViewer solution. But maybe the TeamViewer team can comment on where in the TeamViewer architecture you can do analytics before it goes to the augmented reality frontline solution.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So with regard to analytics, it's a multi-pronged approach for us. Certainly, we want to keep this system open, which means we also have some inbuilt tools that are separately available that we will be looking to launch soon. But we also are very open when it comes to using the data into well-known analytic platforms as well. So we use a host of other series, including the Azure, let's say the Azure stack to do some of these analytics. We have our own setup called the Analytics Cube, which we can show in a little bit in a later time. But these are some of the tools that we keep it open. The more important thing is the way we see analytics is it's more to do in a consultative approach with customer projects. So we need to define the scope and the problem with customers and what kind of data and how they want to bring about these rules, how they want to bring about the insights, and we choose the best tool of choice there. And that's how we approach the analytics topic for now.
Great, thank you. So from my point of view, I think that basically means you have certain areas where you can provide analytics engines, but at least my personal perspective is that TeamViewer is so open that you can integrate other things all over the place. And the Allianzia solution that we looked at is a good example. It runs on the Moxa gateway alongside the TeamViewer IoT agent in this case, and in fact is really nicely integrated. You saw the GUI with the TeamViewer button there, and that's all working seamlessly together. And it even looked like the TeamViewer solution, it seems. So I think that's really a good proof point there. There was one more specific follow-up question. Anna Maria showed writing to sensors. Was that to the actual sensor or to the digital copy? So maybe Anna Maria,
we have integrated several real sensors from several different vendors. And the most common that are known on the market are, of course, German manufacturers that you can imagine without mentioning them. And of course, we have integrated also to other manufacturers. And then for this specific demo, we have both the real sensor and the simulated version. For the demo that you see today with the screen, it was used a simulated version because it was done remotely, but in parallel, the sensors were available at the laboratory of TeamViewer, of course, but we created a digital copy to answer to your question.
But the specific use case, I think that we had in mind with the demo, or that you guys, when you set it up, was that the person, the industrial worker on site, was able to take stock of what the situation is on site, and then really put in the value that he sees, right? So he overrides.
Yes, basically the availability of the frontline augmented reality system give you the possibility to use wearables or smartphone, and everything that you have on your PC will be together with you. You are hands-free and you are in the factory and you can access to the same data. So for example, you want to read the configuration of a machine, you don't go to your PC, you just watch them on the glasses or on your smartphone. Or you want to see a parameter for temperature, if it is out of spec and it's in alarm, you see it on your smartphone or on your glasses if you want hands-free. So basically, it's a more mobile configuration. You need a mobile SDK to be run on a client on your wearable device or on your smartphone, but it's a new concept. Let's say you don't have to carry everywhere a PC-based solution. Yes.
Yeah. So just to also, I mean, to tie that around in a use case scenario, Herman, you could look at this as a remote calibration activity, where sometimes sensor values need to be refreshed and recalibrated. This could be one of those scenarios where it could come into use.
Yeah, and at a very high level, I think it shows that we're connecting things and humans, and that communication in all these cases is bidirectional, and that, I think, is the power of the platform. More specific questions are coming now. Can we add the HoloLens of Microsoft for an AR solution?
Yes, I will comment the choice. We have created a smart guide for the choice of the glasses. So TeamViewer will consult you, will help you with choosing the right smart glass solution. We also declare to be agnostic, so we don't really prefer one solution or the other. We just advise you, depending on the context, which smart glass you need to use. So it could be, for example, in rugged environment, we know who is resistant to water, to fog of the industry, to the climate and weather. And in other cases, maybe simpler solution without this rugged design. In oil and gas, there is also dangerous environment, so we would provide you another solution. The HoloLens is very particular solution. It's just the top of the list, let's say, in terms of features. And also the HoloLens has been tested in several different laboratories, both TeamViewer Germany and our partner have tested locally. We have a good functionality. We just advise to use Microsoft in very specific niche application. I make an example. We just had an automotive customer which wants to reproduce in holograms his environment. This case, which is very advenistic and very real, it will be provided by the HoloLens. So we advise to use HoloLens in very high-end specification, niche use case. But the answer is yes, we tested in several labs in Germany and in Italy.
Yeah, and there was another question about which sensors we can add, and I would say there's many different sensors that can be covered by this solution that we demonstrated. But
yes, I can name some. Of course, Bosch was originally, our kit was Bosch kit. Now we are testing other like Sensata. We tested the Electrex. We are testing now new sensor kit from Taiwan. So depends, the customer have the freedom to choose the sensor he prefer and he thinks are the best quality, yes.
Yeah, and the Allianzia solution, I think, has on their website says something like 5,000 different devices can be connected with that. So. But I don't think we should cover those topics. There's one where over time a bit, but maybe we can cover one or two more areas at least. There was one question about security. So how secure is the overall system because it relies so much on the internet? So maybe TeamViewer can start.
I can definitely take this on. And thank you very much for that question. I was hoping that question would be asked because that is one of our core selling points. So the whole let's say communication channel, the transfer or the transportation of data packets from the device to the cloud over the internet is an entirely encrypted transportation that is provided by a proprietary TeamViewer protocol, and this has been trusted. This has been certified by many different agencies around the world. It's in fact so secure because there are two, let's say, endpoints, and there's a tunnel in the middle that's provided by TeamViewer. The data, once it leaves the hardware to when it reaches the cloud or the other endpoint, is all completely encrypted, and even TeamViewer doesn't know what's going on in the pipe, right? So it's that level of encryption that we're looking at, and this has been certified and also been in a way recommended as a alternative to using virtual private networks. So that's why we are extremely secure on this setup. So that's why cases like attended access came up, because many companies don't trust data leaving their premises, and virtual private networks exposes that, which is why TeamViewer's connectivity, let's say, technology is an alternative, a secure alternative to this.
Yes, to complement on this, for machine builder, we have connected, of course, several different machine builder directly. So the interconnection is directly to the machine. And we have also some white paper that we can share with people that are interested from customer and partner side, where we show that the security of this interconnection, and we do the classical ISO testing from ISO 27005, 27007 up to the new cybersecurity protocol that is available from TeamViewer on this connection, and we can provide also this. So we have several documentation that prove that this interconnection is very robust and compliant to the last cybersecurity attack that was suffered by other company was related to multiple hacker on different location, and this we can prove that through this certification that we have, we are robust also to this multiple attack. Another hint which I can give you that in Italy we have interconnected 4 or 5 different machine builder, and up to today no hacking has been made, and it has been running for 6 years basically. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. To wrap up, maybe one question also to Amjad. Very briefly, which Moxa products can work with the TeamViewer solution?
Yeah, I think I would say pretty much all Moxa products work for TeamViewer solution, but in particular for IoT, as I mentioned before, so we have integrated x86 based product line and also ARM based product line on Moxa TeamViewer platform. So
great. And I want to show my screen real quick for the very last question. I think I am already. So this is the answer to the question, what can you do if you want to play yourself? Okay, so this is the reference to the TeamViewer profile. And if you scroll down, you will see the 3 different use cases, the ones that we covered today: unattended access, IoT, and augmented reality. And if you want to know who to contact for a follow-up, you can contact us if you have a more theoretical question, and you find us on LinkedIn, for instance, or you can get in touch with our 2 guys here on the screen, and then we can take it from there. So with that, I think we've covered at least most of the question areas that we had. So I would say thank you very much, Adi, Anna Maria, Amjad.
Thank you very
and
much.
Everybody else for joining. And get in touch if you want to know more. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.